Hello, everybody, and welcome to week one of Aurora Esports. We are starting off this week with a banger match. Now, it's not starting off this week, it's the third week, but these teams are starting it off. It's going to be the New Zealand Numbys versus the Berlin Brawlers. I am one of your casters, War. I'm joined here with Nqthyn and Nqthyn on prod. Nqthyn, are you excited for this matchup we got here today?
Oh, I'm definitely excited. On my personal rankings, these are two of the top five teams, so I'm ready for a banger for sure.
Ready for a banger, and I think we are going to get a banger here. And we got the final members of the lobby sneaking in. Should be almost ready to start. The first map is going to be Colosseo. What are some of your predictions here, Nqthyn?
Um, you know, I think the Berlin Brawlers they might run Ryan. I don't know if that's true, but
Okay.
they probably will run Ryan. And the DPS line from the Nummies, they're mainly sniper players, I believe. So it'll probably be a poke versus brawl matchup here. So.
Yeah, well, we both actually had a chance to scrim the Numbys, and I feel like they're a very solid team in those sniper comps. It felt like you always had Kevin always starting out in the Widow, would sometimes switch to other sniper related heroes like the Hanzo, maybe even an Ash pick from time to time as well. But you have this dominant sniper, and then you have Sidon, who is a very versatile. He can play your flex DPS, he can play your main hit scan DPS, he can basically play whatever. So it's definitely a very formidable line. It's just a question of will the shield of the Rhine, which we expect the Brawlers to run sort of counter out that.
But yeah, I think overall I do think the DPS lineup from Nummies is just way too good. I think they're gonna take the series, so that's my prediction, but it'll definitely be a close one for sure.
I think it will definitely be some close ones. I obviously got some good friends on the Numbies. I also got some good friends on the Brawlers too. Me and Poke ran some tic tac toe before this, so he's got a sweet spot in my heart just for that. And I really like this team of the Brawlers. I think it's a very interesting team that has been formed because obviously you've got this EJ Poke Sonic Chronic just god team of three who just are together and vibing. But then you have this insane DPS line of Elko, who in my opinion is one of the top four DPS in the league just based off of SR alone. And Elgro, who
Mhm.
they got for dirt cheap, but he's really, really good. I've seen a lot of his clips, and he is insane at the game.
Yeah, I do agree. I scrimmed with him a bit on his Leviathan team, and he definitely brought the pop off potential for sure. Right. I think I'm gonna ready us up. Are we ready?
I believe we are ready to go,
All
and
right.
the crowd is R. We know the Numbies are R, and we'll get to see if the Brawlers are R. But very excited to go into this first matchup, Colosseo.
I don't
Yeah,
know
let
why
me-
I can't. Okay, I guess.
And we are live. Welcome everybody to the match that we may or may not have been casting over. I'm not sure. But now we are with you here with the Numbys in the blue versus the Brawlers in the red. We have Numbys off to a very solid lead. Ult of Vanilla built up now, and all the ults are coming into play here. We got Tree of Life, we got Shatter, we got trades. It's trying to go both ways as Sidon finds the early pick. But EJ trades back on the Sidon. Now, underneath this bridge, this is one of the positions where the Brawlers are going to have better favor. So now they're just able to push back out. Raspberry with a very good leaf to sort of set up on this high ground position. Support's doing a great job of caring for each other, but Algro gets the pick onto Jack on the way out. That's going to be massive to gain the Brawlers their first progress of the game.
I mean, the Brawlers just had 5 ults coming into that fight, and it's pretty hard to beat 5 ults, but the tree almost did sustain them through it, so it was a good trade from the Numbys, I think, getting 3 ults out.
Very good trade. Now it's on the back of Numbys. See what they can do to contest. An early wall and a blizzard as well. But Sidon just early in these fights keeps getting this pick onto Poke, and that's such a massive play. Kevin also set up in a masterful position to find another pick and a third as well. The Brawlers seem to be falling apart. I mean, what can you do to dodge these like hit scan players who are obviously so proficient?
I mean, I think it just comes down to just using a bit more cover. Because as soon as that BAP gets picked at the start of the fight, you don't have any healing, you just have Lucio heals, like the fight's basically over at that point. So if, you know, we can use a little more cover maybe next time. It looks like Poke is using cover still, but we'll see if this next fight he can learn from his mistakes.
You just have to respect the sights of Kevin. If you're not respecting the sights of Kevin, he will punish you. This combination that he has with Raspberry on the left side of point, they basically force everybody on the Brawlers to the right side. Now that's what the Brawlers want to do. They want to play together. They want to brawl through. And Poke finally gets his revenge onto Kevin. The Brawlers jump in. They're going for the trades. EJ pushes in, solo Shatter onto Dire. Is it gonna find anything though? No, it doesn't shut anything down just yet. And Sidon and Jack are there to pick up the teammate. Are they gonna be able to carry this fight out? Jack with the res, Sidon gets traded out though. So now it's Dire. Jack's been eliminated on the point. A 2v1, Dire trying to sustain for the team, but is not able to do it. And that was a very close fight. I think that one really was determined by poking the trade onto Kevin at the start rather than Kevin onto Poke, but that's a good sign for them.
Yeah, it definitely was a good opening pick, but Sidon almost clutched it up with that that overclock at the start. But unfortunately he got picked. He wasn't able to kill everyone. But yeah, looking like we got a Flux and a tree coming up, so we'll see how they can use those ults. Big Flux here though.
That's a massive Flux. It's going to be counted out by the beat from Nutty. I'm sure he was holding on to that one for a while. While Elgo with the wall too sort of position themselves up on the high ground, and now they've sort of split up the team of the Numbys. They're so isolated. You got 2 on point, Raz and Dire just trying to sustain. Meanwhile, EJ decides to dive in, but he's still got some big threats on the backside. Kevin looking for shots. Jack finding shots of his own too. Finishing out Elgro. Finally, Dire and Raspberry die, but it's a 3v3 on point. This is a straight up even fight right now. The advantage is somewhat going to the Brawlers. Jack getting a little bit overzealous, going for the res. Actually finds it too. Blizzard invested now from Elko. Finds Dire on the point. Gonna even this back up to a 3v3 situation. But the Numbys are gonna have the favorite spawns here. And Dire set up into such a good position, but Nuttier gets the trade back onto Jack. Brawlers doing their best to re-sustain here, but it's so hard now that you have Kevin and Sidon both set up onto the high ground, both with that one-shot potential on their characters respectively.
Yeah, it was a crazy res from Jack, but unfortunately the Sigma's just too far in, so he can't get out at that point into the Lucio comp, so...
Poke's kind of heating up right now. I think Sidon might have gotten a little bit overzealous when he assumed he had his mercy, but didn't. Got the punish straight through. Elgo finds a pick too. So now it's just members of the Numbys trying to survive, sustain on point. Dire's in a very isolated spot though, with no life river healing. You have to give a lot of care in this situation. Jack's healing is so split up, and Sidon gets punished for it. Now Tree of Life gets invested down on point, but the Brawlers still have the numbers, and they're entering a very favorable position. Jack finds the res, forcing back a 5v5 situation. Only ult online is going to be the amplification matrix. Gets pulled out by Poke, but Poke instantly traded out for it. The punishment is there. Elko with the switch on to the Hanzo is showing up very well. The EJ's there to confirm a bit more. Elko is started to find his rhythm too.
It was a great opening pick from Dyer to get the BAP, but unfortunately it was just too deep. He couldn't get the flux off, which was very unfortunate. If he lived and got that flux off, maybe the fight could have been different.
The Brawlers sort of backed up for a second now. Sidon said, okay, sit down a bit. You gotta show a bit of respect to my game too. I'm the highest draft pick effectively, by being the highest price. But now, all 5 members back. Sights are gonna drop, so the Brawlers have a chance to walk in here. And they're already setting up 7 on this lead, on this high ground position to find a pick, but Poke trades it back again. Okay, man, that is insane. They only bait out Rez for now, but that's a big pick to find early on into this fight, and it's giving them the momentum to try and take this high ground. 7 TPs are out. Dragon's going straight through. That's going to divide the team in 2, but Jack's going to invest the Valkyrie, see what possession he can get, see how much of the team he can get up. He's going straight in, trying to find as much presence as he can, and now the Numbys have retaken these high grounds, and Sidon gets the first pick onto Elko. Instantly trading back bot, though. This is trade after trade after trade. Numbys with a bit of a lead right now. Jack looking for the res. It's going to go unpunished. So now they got a 4v4 situation again. Looking to go in, looking to force out anything they can, and I believe the Brawlers are going to have to be backed up and shut down here. EJ with a desperation pin finds Raspberry. Definitely not the pick that they were expecting, but still some good progress for the Numbys.
It just comes down to that high ground. It's really hard for the Brawlers comp to take the high ground and get on their backline. So maybe Allegro should look for a TP and 5-man rush on the backline next time they're on that choke.
And their 5-man rushes have proved extremely vital, especially when they got there about 68% on the map. That all came from one of the TPs on the high ground, so you definitely want to be setting up for that position. They're looking for it now. TP comes through. That's 4 towards the high ground. The entire team has to use utility to get out. And the Shadow goes in. They wasted all the utility, and now EJ's gonna put it down. The Shadow, but gets punished for it at the same time. Now you got all the ults coming out on the side of the Numbys. You gotta think that this is game over. Even with their tank down, the res comes through. Elgro's the last one surviving on what is not the point, apparently, because they did not have the touch. The Numbys are gonna take map number 1 of Colosseo.
Oh, what a crazy last fight. I mean, Dyer hits a crazy flux, and then Poke saves both of them with the lamp, but they are able to trade the Rhine, and just from Dyer able to stay alive there, that won them the fight when their Rhine died. But there were definitely a lot of picks from Kevin there that, especially on the Rhine, that caused them to win that last fight. But I think that map, I think they were the most coordinated with the 5-man TP on backline. So I think if they're going to win this rush first,
they can probably force a map that is more to their favor, more to their Brawl gameplay style. I definitely believe that we'd be going to King's Row here. Would you say so, Nqthyn?
I think...
Oh, wait, we can't go to King's Row. Wait, we can't go to King's Row because they only have 4 maps that we can play. Okay, so that changes things. My apologies for a bit of confusion there. We can't go to King's Row. There's 4 hybrid maps they can pick. I'll pull up what those maps are in a second, but they're definitely going to try to force something Brawl related, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think between the 4 maps being Eichenwald, Midtown, Blizzard World, and Numbani, they gotta go with Eichenwald, because I think Midtown's more of a pokey map, and Blizzard World and Numbani, there's too many high grounds to run Ryan Brawl. So I think Eichenwald is their best bet, but we'll see what they end up picking.
Definitely agree with that. I mean, there's really only one high ground that you can play on Eigenwald, and it's not like the most formidable high ground. You can easily take the space and get up onto that high ground compared to the maps like Blizzard world where there's so many high grounds that you can just rotate around. Numbani feels like one of the most high ground dominated maps there, but they're actually going to switch it over and go to Midtown instead. What are your thoughts on this pick?
I'm actually really surprised they picked Midtown. Midtown, there's a lot of long sight lines, so I think that could potentially go into the favor of the Numbys just because they love long sight lines if they're running double sniper. But you know, maybe they practice this map, maybe they got some secret strats that we don't know about, but I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, we will have to see. I know, at least in my first time playing Midtown, I was actually in Aurora Esports. I believe it was with the Buenos Aires Bilbies too. There's a lot of things that we try to do on Brawl on that map specifically, just because the first point is you have so many options. Like you can go all the way around the point, really circumvent the long sight lines, and just rotate the far left side, get onto like a point that's very, very close to the point, and you can't really get punished for it. Or you could try some train car strats too. You can go through the train car, you can go over the train car, but it's a question of will the Numbys be able to read into that and then just take space to make it impossible for their team to engage?
Yeah, I do agree. There's a lot of ways you can go, a lot of different strats you can use. So I mean, if they, you know, if they scrimmed Midtown and they have a bunch of strats for it, like I could definitely see um the Numbys not having a response for these strats. But we'll see how it goes.
We'll definitely have to see. The Numbys will take the attack side first. They're going to save the defense for later. They believe they have what it takes here. I want to see sort of what the attack strategy is for the Numbys, because do you keep Kevin on the Widow? Do you keep Sidon on the Sojourn? Or do you want to go over to something a bit more versatile? I don't know.
I do think there's quite a lot of good angles you can take with hit scan DPS here. So, I mean, if it works so well the first map, I don't know why they would want to change anything. I think the double sniper poke comp will probably be played again here, even if it's on attack.
Yeah, and that's the comp they won with before, so if it ain't broke, you know what they say, do not fix it.
Exactly.
I believe we will be going in very shortly here to the match. Yes, and we are at the moment loading in. The current score is Numbys 1, Brawlers 0. Got the Brawlers map kit pick of Midtown right here. Just see our first look at these initial comps.
And it does look like the Numbys are just sticking with what they won with on the first map, which makes a lot of sense. And the Brawlers are going with their 5-man rush comp. No comp switches from the last map, so we'll see if the map it was just the problem here, and if the Brawlers are able to take this second map.
I would put money on the Brawlers just not walking through the main choke point here. They have so many other options to get through, and I'm considering like you have to take one of those other options. You can't just walk down the street, barrel down those sight lines into an Ashe, into a Sojourn, and hope it works out. Gotta be trying to do something creative here, and you can see, okay, bit of creativity, singing in through the right side. They're not realizing they're not actually hitting much contestation here. Now they're looking to obviously take this TP up and through. It's gonna be Elgro on the Symmetra again, who's a very critical part of the team. EJ is gonna put a bit of pressure on the point. They're doing a good job of clearing out this left side of point high ground first, get their setup there, but eventually they have to contest the point. They're gonna be dropping down. Now it's on Dyer to see what type of contest he can get on the point, because EJ is sort of just stalling it out right now.
Yeah, they did a very good job of rotating to the left, and it looks like they get the opening pick as well on Elko. Big pick.
That's a big pick. Sidon's really set up into a very solid position, a very punishable position around this fire truck. And Elko splitting his attention, doing his best to sort of keep track of every member of his team, trying to keep them together. But eventually the focus is going to come back onto him. Dire just jumps in onto their safe space, into the room that they were doing their best to hold out on. The rest of the team collapses, follows up, and that's going to be EJ down. Brawlers have to reset.
Yeah, it just comes down to the 2 opening picks from Sidon. Just an absolute menace on the Soldier, and he's got his overclock ready too, so, you know, we'll see how much value he can get with that, but judging from that last fight, I think it's going to be the same thing. I think Sidon's just going to click heads.
The TP is going to come through again. Kevin has that coach gun. Reset, get out, and Dire's right there at the shield to back them up. These 5-man TPs, their cooldowns aren't fast enough to really get onto the opponents, and the application matrix is going to come through, but Dire's going to actually be the one to find the first pick, and the Bob actually gets lifted up by the pedal. Just some good punishment, but Elko's popping off on the back line, builds up the sim wall. It's now left to Dire on the point to survive for himself. The 2-man flux comes through. It's going to get half negated by Elko and the ice block. What can he do to sort of sustain for his team? Nobody's on the point right now. Nobody's contesting, but the first people who are going to come back are the Brawlers, and they're going to get the advantageous position. Jack uses the Valk. You might be thinking he's going to be looking for that res here, but you're going to do their best to zone it out. EJ's right on top of it, and he's going to punish the res on Jack. That's great awareness from EJ to know exactly what the Numbys are doing and shut it down.
Just an absolutely crazy play from Allegro. He was down his BAP at the start of that fight, but he's able to find 2, which is really crazy, and the rest of the fight was just a staggered fight. So really good plays from Allegro there on the Symmetra. But it looks like we'll have beats for the Brawlers here, and the enemy team doesn't have any ult, so we'll see if they can just beat on top of them and rush them down.
They're still going into it. They realize staggers are still possible, so they actually push for this high ground, and now they're going to be able to keep this position. That position was crucial for the Numbys, so the fact that they've lost it this early on gives Nqthyn and the cart a lot of free progress here, and the Numbys a tall task ahead with no ultimates online, no ultimates really even that close. They need to recontest this high ground into Blizzard, into Beat, into Amplification Matrix.
Yeah, it was just so crucial that they got that high ground early, and all they have to do is just push the cart, which they're currently not doing, so hopefully they can get the cart as they do. And yeah, we'll see what Elko can do with this Blizzard. They don't really have a defensive ult for it, so I think it'll be a big Blizzard here. Maybe probably on the Sig.
The Bob's finally been built up. Kevin's been very good with these ultimates so far. Amplification Matrix straight into it though. Seeing what damage they can do. Nqthyn finally with a pick onto the Bob. Damage is sort of mitigated for a second, but now Kevin has snuck up onto this high ground. The teams have sort of given up the awkward positions here. Elko with the Blizzard and the backline, but nobody on the Numbys are in the backline anymore. Dire, Flux didn't find much of anything, but Sidon did get the pick. Numbys doing their best to survive on the point, and they're going to be able to shut down this progress from the Brawlers, but that's a really good single push all the way from the first point. First objective, almost to the end of the second one. You cannot be mad about that.
Yeah, it was a great fight from the Numbys. They traded their main sources of healing, but Jack came in with the Valk, so they ended up having more healing. We're able to sustain a bit better than the Brawlers. But now that they have this high ground, it's going to be really hard for the Brawlers to take it from them. They're going to have to take a lot of poke if they're going to want to take this high ground back.
And nice TP towards the left side. They're taking the space inside of the room. Now they have a lot of options about how they want to approach this. They're going to decide to drop down, utilize that wall from Elgro, and also a TP into the back line, but nobody's going to take it. It's going to force the Numbys back. And Elko made the Hanzo switch last map. It's obviously working out fairly well this time. But Kevin finds the pick onto the tank, and Jack's right there at the res. Tied down with the overclock is not something to be slept on, my friends. That's going to find 3, and that's going to basically mark the end of the match, the end of the fight.
It's a huge rock from Dire there. Almost canceled the shatter, but EJ ended up going down after the rock. So once EJ went down, they didn't have a shield. Sidon just went in with his overclock, and there was no shield to stop him from killing free. So just amazing plays from Dire and Sidon.
And now we're entering a one-fight territory where Sidon's the first one to find the pick onto Elgro. So now if you're the Brawlers, you gotta think, okay, we took the high ground, we got half of what we need. Elgo drops the Sidon moment in chat. I would definitely agree. That is the Sidon moment. That is why you spend about 400 on it, but 400,000 on it. But Elko's gonna do a good job of forcing out this res. Send the dragons in the back line. That's actually gonna cut off Raspberry, force them to use a bit of the utility. It's gonna be a chance with this flux here. No beat to counter it. Sidon's gonna get shut down after he finds one. So now it's one DPS on both teams, but the bomb's down on the point. So is the Tree of Life too, and they're doing a great job of diving in, putting down all this pressure. Jack's there at the Valk too, and he's taking this DPS Mercy to heart, going in every way he possibly can. EJ's trying with the pin. Raspberry gets the teammate out very, very quickly. They're actually finding picks onto this point though. EJ and Nutty come up big. Dire manages to sustain too. It's going to be a game of ults, and Sidon coming back with the overclock might be what's the changing factor in this fight. Looking for heads here, seeing who he can take down. Elko, that's going to be one. Can he find a second one too? Elgo's back on the touching tracer. Sidon with the shutdown onto Nuttier, and nobody else can do anything. That's going to be a solid stop on the second part of this map for the Numbys.
Yeah, that last fight, they had the Bob on point, they had the Tree on point, they had the Flux on their supports, and all the Brawlers had to combat that was the beat. So I think that last fight just came down to the Numbys able to use 5 ults effectively, so it wasn't much hope for the Brawlers there. But that second point is kind of tough, so, you know, the Brawlers didn't do too bad of a job there. The Brawlers, I feel like, still have a chance here, especially if they hold them at choke. I think it'll be hard for the poke comp to get past the choke here on this first point.
Yeah, and this Brawl is fairly good for the point. They're able to lock down a lot of space, and they can easily play behind the initial choke, behind the fire hydrant, and just blitz on people. But we do see a bit of a switch. Elgro off of Symmetra onto the Bastion, and they're going to be committing to this for sure. Definitely a way to provide a bit more damage onto the crucial members of the Numbys.
Oh yeah, Dire's going to have to play very, very well here, because playing Sigma into Ryan May Bastion is really tough. You make one wrong move, you walk into a Bastion form, you get Maywalled and pinned, like, it's over. So definitely going to be on Dire to play clinically here, and very carefully.
Yeah, and that Sigma util obviously has a lot of potential to shut down the Bastion, but it's all going to be a question of timing. When they figure out the other team has Bastion, when that comp comes through, it's on Dire to make sure it shields up at the right time, Grasp is used correctly, and they're able to shut down the team. With a solid hold of choke, Maywell comes out early from Elko, seeing what space they can find. It's going to be shut down by a very solid, sizable dynamite from Kevin. That's going to ignite a couple people. The E out from Sidon too, dealing a lot of damage. Look at Sidon though, taking a lot of positive space, but Elko says, no way, you are not going to be able to take all this space from me and my team. We're going to run into you. We're going to try to brawl. Kevin with a solid trade though. Now 4v4 fight. Numbys are definitely going to look to push this soon, especially after a big dynamite. Kevin's been very crucial with those so far. Over the window, Fire Strike is going to be absolutely clinical. That can shut people down. And Poke's been doing such a good job of building up these windows. But Dire with the 3-man flux, it's going to be so massive. The Amor field is there, right on time to cancel it out, but it's not going to be able to find EJ. So now the Brawlers have to survive without a tank. What can they do here to sustain on the point? And really nothing when you got Sidon looking at you. Elko may have block, but will not matter as they get the shutdown there. Brawlers might be able to look to contest back into this, but it'll be a close one.
It's an absolutely huge flux from Dire. I think he got that like almost a minute into the game. He already has his flux, hits a 3-man, gets the Rhine pick, and then once the Rhine's down, you don't got a shield to shield off the poke damage. You don't have a engage tool. There's just nothing to do once the Rhine's dead.
Kevin's Bob is gonna go in. He's gonna find a bit of punishment onto EJ, but Kevin gets traded back out. Quick res back onto the point. Kevin just keeps hitting these dynamite. Sidon with the overclock is just, I mean, it speaks for itself. Poke with that crazy pick. He's going to be able to find one. Elko existing on the back line, doing his best personally, but he's not going to be able to get all that much. And Kevin bleeds out Nuttier over time. The Brawlers need to find themselves a fight here. Otherwise, it's going to be game over quickly. Still 4 minutes on the clock to cap out this part of Midtown. They are slowly losing the high ground. This composition, it's so hard to hold it when you have this double sniper on the side of the Brawlers. EJ's jumping down though. He's going to do his best. The shatter misses though. I don't even know how that happened. And Raspberry's there. Coalescence is going to come through. Seeing what they can find. Both support zones utilized by the Numbys, and that's going to be able to get them a bit of progress here. They're going to be able to get Sidon back up, but the Brawlers are still a 5-man unit going into this. A lot of ultimates used on that fight on both sides, but the Brawlers are going to be able to end up taking the positive space.
It was a huge block from Dyer, but unfortunately, I think it was either Kevin or Sidon that got picked there, and then they just ran on Dyer for free, so despite the heroics of Dyer, they were not able to take it.
The folks gonna come out. Some big positive stuff for the side of the Numbys, effectively on a wasted amplification matrix thus far from Poke, and that might have been their game-winning ult. Raspberry with a swap over onto the Ana instantly gets rezzed up as well too, so now it's looking very positive for the Numbys. They're gonna have Bob, they're gonna have Overclock, and what do the Brawlers have to answer? Really nothing. They need to win out one of these fights here, dry effectively, and then get Shatter as soon as possible. Bob's already on. EJ just discombobulated up on this high ground, doing his best to shut it down. They've had to waste so much util into killing this, and meanwhile, on the point, the supports are just contesting. The Brawlers look so separated. They look so confused on this high ground. Sidon held on to that overclock till just the right time. And now he's going to be the one tapping heads. They're going to be the one taking map number 2. Numbers are going to be up 2-0.
Just an absolutely fantastic performance from Dyer. They had the Mei and the Bastion. Like, it was a really rough matchup, but he was able to hit so many good fluxes that got either opening picks or made an opening for Kevin and Sidon to go crazy. Like, this was a fantastic performance from Dyer.
And the exceptional thing about it, and this is the thing that I always remember when I hear about Dyer, he actually signed up as a support. And then he got drafted on to the Numbys, who didn't have a tank player, had 2 support players, and then he sort of took over this tank role. He didn't sign up to do this, but he has been performing exceptionally thus far, especially for the Numbys. I mean, they have a really stacked team, but he is showing up when the team needs him, and he's hitting these massive fluxes. The accretions are hitting. The grasps are perfectly timed. Everything is going good for this team right now.
Yeah, it's just so surprising that he, he's main role support, but he's doing so well in such like a hard matchup for him. I did not expect him to be, have such a good macro understanding of how to play Sig into like such a difficult 5-man rush comp. It's just very, very surprising the work he's putting on in this match.
Yeah, now the Brawlers are going to be left with a difficult task ahead. They need to effectively reverse sweep to claim this match as a whole. Next map is going to be a King of the Hill, or also known as Control map, and for the usual, they're going to have 4 choices. You got Ilios, Samoa, Nepal, Busan. Nqthyn, if you're the Brawlers, what are you choosing here?
Well, I think that one's a no-brainer, to be honest. I think Samoa is one of the best rush maps in the entire game, and it's kind of hard to play. It's kind of hard to play poke on that map just because of the really, really short sightlines. So, I would be very surprised if they didn't pick Samoa, because it's definitely one of the biggest rush maps in the entire game.
Yeah, I would also go Samoa too. I know we both faced off against the Numbys on Samoa as a ringer team, and they sort of got discombobulated because you aren't able to set up Kevin on these long sight lines. Sidon isn't able to do as much if it's so congested around the points, especially on Volcano, such a tight map. It feels like you walk out of spawn and you're already on the point sometimes. So in maps like that where it's less positioning based, more just brawl into the other team based, I think those are the maps that the Brawlers are going to pick up steam, pick up momentum, and get the favor.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see it going the way of the Brawlers for Samoa, but also I think we're gonna have some swaps coming in. They have to give Scent some playtime, and they also need to give Sonic some playtime. So maybe a compositional swap from the Numbys. If they do going to Samoa, we'll have to see what Scent pulls out here.
The Numbys is definitely a very flexible team as well, too. I mean, I've seen Dyer play support for them. I've seen Sidon play tank for them sometimes, and I've been like, oh, this is some interesting swaps we got going on here, but they can make things work. And definitely a very versatile team in that regard. The Brawlers, I mean, I'm not sure. Is Sonic Chronic is he the support player as well? Or I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, so I could see two things happening. I could see Sonic swapping over to tank if they want to play Ilios, and Sonic is really good at the diva character, so they could maybe try to run some dive. But also Sonic signed up main role as support, so they could maybe just swap out Poke and then put Sonic on Flexport on the BAP character. But
In these
we'll
situations, I mean, it's you will have to see, like you're gonna say, but like
yeah, exactly.
it's tough because you have a comp you've been mastering throughout this entire season, and you literally named your team after it, the Brawlers, right? And they're actually going to be going over to Ilios, but it's a question of your comp has lost 2 times. Obviously, map choices are important, but this comp has lost 2 times to the Numbys. Now, do you make some drastic comp changes, or do you just keep with what you're good at, make that one-on-one swap? It's a very tough question.
Yeah, I looking back on it, I think they made the right call. I think if you run the same comp twice in a row and it doesn't work, I think you do have to switch some things up, despite Samoa being such a good rush map. So I do like this choice from them putting Sonic on the tank, and we'll see if Sonic can match the probably Winston that Dyer's gonna play here.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Wonder if we're gonna get to see some Hog gameplay. Oh, Hog with the new updates has been torturing me in my gold elo. Wait, did the map just switch? Switch to Nepal?
I think
Did we just get
EJ.
baited?
No, EJ said, never mind. Okay, yeah.
Never mind, we're
So
going to
we'll be in
Nepal.
Nepal, which is, I don't agree with this decision at all. I think Samoa is just such a good brawl map. But Nepal also is an alright brawl map. Nepal Village, specifically, is a very, very good brawl map. But I believe the inside map, Sanctuary, is more of a poke-based map. Um, so definitely a question mark for me why they chose this map over Samoa.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's Samoa's obviously a new map. It's a question of how much experience do you have on that map, as we are going to be going in here. But who knows? Maybe the Brawlers have cooked up on something on this map. Sometimes in the early season, it comes down to what do you have experience with. Maybe this is the map that Sonic Chronic has more experience with when he's coming in. Maybe this is what the Brawlers have scrimmed, because at this point in time, most teams only have 1 or 2 scrims. They haven't really been able to try out that many maps. You obviously have this a bit of map preference thus far. So there's a lot of things to consider with Nepal, and Nepal could also work well for some sim tricks they're trying to play too.
Yeah, for sure. It might just be, you're right. That is a good point. It might just be a comfort pick. Maybe some of the players on the Brawlers haven't had much experience with the Samoa map because it did just come out. So I could definitely see it being more of a comfort pick than, a good overall, the best overall pick.
So we're going to be heading in to Nepal.
Initiating match.
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure the names of like all these maps. Like if this one's like Shrine or Sanctum or whatever. But we're heading into a Nepal map. Nathan, carry me, please.
I believe it's Shrine. I think this was the map I was trying to say that was really good for Rush. Yeah,
Yep.
this one is Shrine. So I said Village was really good for Rush, but I guess it is. But this is like the one of the best Rush maps in the game. Shrine, I believe. So I would
yeah.
not be surprised if they end up able to take it.
This is interesting because we see a bit of unexpected like picks from both teams. I mean, we have an effective dive comp from the Brawlers. I feel like this is off-brand. I feel lied to. I feel hurt in so many ways. On the side of the Numbys, we got Dire on the Doom Fist, and Sidon like with the TP out, but probably going to switch off. The Scent Jack combination on the Pharmacy is something dangerous that we got to worry about too.
Yeah, I think I like this decision to swap over to dive when you have Scent in, because, you know, Scent is a Pharah specialist, so giving him the space to work with is a lot better than, you know, just playing the Sigma.
And not many things can shut down Scent up on this high ground, so the side of the Brawlers have already had to use Suzu. They're going in as a 5-man, but Scent's effectively left unpunished unless he gets hacked out, which is tough because they have to hack the Mercy before you hack the Pharah, otherwise you can't really get any good progress out of the point. Centurion is just going to be left completely uncontested because EJ typically can't be the one to fly up there. Elko can't be the one to dash up there. The team of the Numbys are just able to surround point with Sidon, who's just such a specialist on any DPS role you put him on, but especially the Tracer, following in after the dives of Dire. I mean, this is so formidable. I want to see a hit scan from the side of the Brawlers just because they aren't able to do anything right now.
They just need to swap something up. Like, they can't leave this Pharmacy to just rain down rockets from above for free. They definitely need, like, either a Tracer or a hit scan would be tough with this comp, but I really want to see a Tracer swap in order to counter this Pharmacy. I think if they don't end up swapping, I don't think they have much hope for this map.
Yeah, it's so much to ask for Sonic Chronic. Obviously, he'll be looking to target this far. He's positioning up towards the right side right now, looking for versatile hacks. He's going to be able to find Jack, and they're all going to be able to dive in, but the rest of the team's just so good. Dire jumps in, punches there. Centurion gets the help that they need to, but Elko's showing some hero prowess here. The entire team just keeps, like, just dies around because the Pharah is just left in the air the entire time. They kill the Mercy, but the rest of your team is dead.
I mean, they're just playing this 5-man comp that wants to go in and dive everybody together all in one place, but then they have Centurion just raining down AoE damage on them, so it's just an absolutely horrible matchup, and I'm just very surprised that they're staying on this comp. And Scent now has the Barrage, so the other team needs to be very careful of that.
And it's Sonic's shut down. That's the really only chance you have against the Pharmacy here. The rest of the team existing around the point. The Brawlers are taking a bit of space towards the point. EJ with the Primal Rage doing his best to sustain towards the point. Elko's been very good at getting these single picks, but Jack with the Velk and the res coming through. Elko trying to stay sane with this blade here. Found Centurion. That's the pick that they needed at this point in time. But Sidon's just still down on this point. Dire with the Meteor Strike. Still not going to be able to find much of anything so far. Sonic Chronic almost up to this EMP as well. That could be a fight-changing ability if he can get it off. Sidon, just a good job. Or Centurion, obviously with a good job, but it's going to be shut down by Sonic. The rest of the team is just able to exist towards the point, and they take this map just fairly easily, at least this point of it.
Yeah, just a really good hero play from Elko with the blade, but that was the only time they were able to kill the Pharah, is when they either solo EMP'd him or they solo bladed him. So, like, they definitely just need to swap to a hit scan or a Tracer. They can't leave this Pharmacy unmatched, or else he's just gonna rain down AoE damage.
You can see some swaps definitely coming out for the side of the Brawlers. You got EJ on the Rhine now, and Sonic Chronic on a position where, I mean, I don't even know if this is going to be enough, though, because before they had the Sombra, obviously, and that was trying to go for the hacks. Now you have the cast, but it still feels like a single person looking. You could argue that Poke could come up with some big hero plays. You could argue that Elko could come up with some big hero plays and poke out the Pharah, too. I think this will go better, but there's a question of, is it enough?
I do think BAP is one of the best picks in the game into Pharmacy, and I think that in combination with Cass will be a lot better than last map, but I mean, that's not really saying much. It's still anybody's game at this point.
Definitely still anybody's game. And Dire with the super punch onto Elko off the map. Oh my gosh, Dire. What are you doing? And everybody's in the room. He's able to charge this punch up, find another, find a third. Okay, Dire, you're going crazy right now.
And they swapped to a comp that counters the Pharah, but they're not in a comp that counters Doomfist, and that's just what happens. Dire just finds 2 great opening picks and hits a 4K overall. Like, can this guy be stopped? The support players somehow going crazy on the Doomfist.
All this time, too, we're sleeping on the Sidon, who's already built up Pulse, already looking for it, is not going to be able to find it, though. Misses out on that one, but Dire's able to go in. Shut down by Sonic Krennic, though. That's the pick that the Brawlers need. Now they're able to force towards the point. Raspberry gets shut down, too. They should be able to exist on this point without much contestation right now, but Scent actually gets a pick onto Nuttier. I'm surprised the Brawlers just didn't run down to point and join their teammate on the point, but I guess not. Jack's kind of in awkward position right now, but somehow finds the res. Okay, gets traded out. Okay, I'm so glad that he got punished for that. That would have been insane if it went uncontested, but it feels like it sort of has at this point in time, because now you got Dire and Sidon back, and now the rest of the Brawlers have sort of just died on the point. Nutter's able to touch back on, but it's only going to be about 16% for them. Nothing else.
Just an absolutely crazy fight. I don't know how they ended up winning with Dire like dying in the first like 10 seconds of the fight. I think the confidence from getting a 4K the previous fight definitely got to Dire. He thought he was Thanos and he thought he could just run it down into 5 people, but now it looks like we have both support outs and Barrage coming out of this choke, so it's gonna be really tough for the Brawlers.
Beat invested. Scent with the attempt at the hero play there, shut down the entire team, but Elko with a big pick is going to be able to find it out. The Brawlers have already used 2 of their ultimates so far, and now the only one left standing is going to be that Valkyrie, but Elko shuts it down too. This is what the Brawlers need at the moment, but you got to carry the point. You got to worry about Raspberry with the Coalescence effectively zoning off the point, 93%. Dire goes in, tries to find something, but is going to be shut down. Now the Brawlers are finally going to be on the point. They have the space they need. They got to be so careful, because Sidon, I just got to give this shout out right now. He's used 2 pulse bombs. He's going to be on his 3rd pulse bomb.
Oh my god. That's crazy, but I think that came down to Scent not able to find anybody with the Barrage. I think if he went a bit earlier, when they were rotating, he could have found a lot more people with that Barrage, but because he waited for them to already take the space, it was really tough to set up a good Barrage.
And Sidon's pulse bomb forces out the immortality field. That's so big, because now the rest of the team's able to go back in. All they have to defend is gonna be this amplification matrix. They try to jump in, try to find some space. Picks exchange both ways. Sidon's doing a great job of existing in all this chaos, finding pitch for the team. Jack gets the res. Meanwhile, Sidon and Dire torturing the backline of the Brawlers. The beat's gonna be there. It's gonna connect on multiple on the point. EJ's gonna be swinging through. He actually finds the pharmacy in tight quarters. That's going to be what the Brawlers need at this moment, but Sidon's doing such a good job. The backline of those Brawlers consistently punished by this Sidon-Dire combination that's scaring the rest of the team. The 4th pulse bomb comes through. This one connects, and this one hits EJ.
This is an absolutely crazy plays coming out from this duo here. Dire and Sidon in your backline. Like, what can you even do at that point? They're just killing everybody, and that'll be the series, 3-0 for the New Zealand Numbys.
The New Zealand Numbys do take it home. GG's dropped in chat, and you talked about these 2 teams being good, but I mean, the Numbys looked like they were on a different level today.
Yeah, I personally think they're the #1 team with their GM DPS lineup and Dire on tank and Jack on the flex support. Like, they just have so many strong players on their team. On top of like a super hard carry DPS line. I'm not sure if they'll be able to be stopped.
I'm not sure if they're going to be able to be stopped. So a clean 3-0 for the Numbys over the Berlin Brawlers. I got to ask you, Nqthyn, obviously some great talent from the Numbys today, but who would you say is their player of the game?
Oh, I mean, there's so many decisions. You had Scent come in on the far, just take over Shrine, and you had Jack with some super clutch reses. You had Sidon hitting like 5 pulse bombs in whatever minutes, like 5 minutes. I don't remember how much time that map was, and then you had
somebody's got to get like the pulses per minute on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had Dire, who was just playing clinically on the SIG, and Raspberry doing great things on the Life Weaver, good trees. You know, it's really hard to pick one person because I think everyone on the Numbys played really well, and Kevin too. I actually am so curious how many final blows he had on Coliseo because he got the opening pick so much. So it's tough, but I think just because of Midtown, just because he had to play this Sigma into this 5-man rush comp and he was doing wonders on the first 2 maps and even the third map, he was doing great things on the Doomfist. We talked about the Dire plus Sidon duo in your backline. Like the Brawlers, the Berlin Brawlers just did not have an answer for that. So I think it's close between Sidon and Dire, but I think I got to give it to Dire.
I also got to give it to Dyer too. I mean, the story thus far has been insane. Signed up as support, moved over to tank because the team needed him, and he was playing the gambit with all the tank players, and he was performing. So I got to give it to Dyer. I'm gonna send him the wait. I don't know why we're joining a game right now, but whatever. Don't mind that. We have a 2v4 that is in the background for some weird reason, but whatever. We have Dyer. Wait, no, he's not already here. Dyer is not already here. We'll do our best to get Dyer to join General.
Ready for battle.
Oh my, okay, I got some important news. It is Dyer's birthday. He just got off. First off, happy birthday, Dyer. Thank you for showing up on your birthday. Obviously a great way to celebrate with the team. Secondly, apparently he just left. Dyer, because he's celebrating his birthday.
5,
Oh,
Do we just go side on?
round 1. Capture the objective.
yeah,
Side on second MVP.
Yeah, I think
Side on
side
second
on, yeah.
MVP. Go, go, go. General chat, everybody, or lounge or something. I don't know. Join a call. Any call.
The objective is now active.
I'm waiting too. Wait, Dyer's in. Wait,
Where
wait.
is he?
What?
I don't see
Sidon
him.
said he is in. I don't know who he is. Is he Dyer?
There he is.
There he is. Oh my
Hey.
gosh. Yo, Dyer, happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday.
bro.
Thanks, guys.
Congrats on the win.
That was fun.
All right. First of all, we gotta say, amazing performance on every single map, every single role you played. You fit the mold perfectly. And is it birthday luck? Is this just what the Numbers are gonna do all season? What's happening in your guys' mind right now?
I think we're coming for it, honestly. Our DPS players are insane. They make my job really easy, so. Sidon and Kevin and Centurion, they're crazy. I get pocketed when I need it, so I like our odds, honestly.
Yeah, I actually had a question about that. So on Midtown, you were playing it into Ryan Bastion May, which is every tank player's worst nightmare. So
Yeah, it was sick.
when you saw that comp, was there anything in your mind that changed? Like, was there a certain way you wanted to play? Like, what was your mindset going into playing that comp?
I mean, we kind of knew they were going to run something like that. I think everyone kind of knows they're going to run something like that and be good at it. They are good at it. I just tried to set myself up to where, like, if I got walled, I could get around it and to safety, obviously. But I just wanted to play, like, slow and let, Kevin and Sidon do their thing. I just wanted to, like, not give space, too much space, so that, they could get their job done. And I mean, Sidon had like that 5K. He pressed his Q, and then I just hold W. Like it's pretty simple playing with that guy.
So at the moment, is there anything you aren't comfortable with the Numbys? I mean, you seem to be proficient on basically everything that the Brawlers threw at you, and a wide variety of compositions.
I think we're gonna do pretty good. I don't know how this Maga stuff's gonna go. I mean, just more tank busting, I guess, which is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to
You
see how that goes.
excited? You excited for Mauga as the new character? You gonna be put in Mauga jail soon?
I realized that I had enough points to buy the battle pass yesterday. I've played one game of him. So hopefully I can figure it out. I don't know. He seems kind of simple. I don't know.
But
All right,
yeah,
Nate. Yeah.
besides the Sigma, we didn't even talk about the Doomfist yet. We saw some great dives, some great coordination between you and Sidon. So, what do the comms sound like for that? Are you calling the dives, or is he calling the dives, or how do you guys make that work so well?
Realistically, we're both kind of doing our own thing until I think someone gets weak. We obviously have like
Okay.
targets we're after. When we were playing the Doom, they were on like that Winston stuff, and we couldn't really go aggressive. We had to like dive their dive. You know what I mean? Like go second.
Yeah, that's
So
very
like
smart.
people come out of their dive and we're like going on like Kiriko or whatever because she has to TP to get in, and then you take it from there. I mean, after Kiriko's dead, you have like Lucio heals, so pretty much you just go after whoever's weak. That was the bulk of the plan there.
Alrighty. Well, Nathan, unless you have any more questions. Yeah, we're gonna get the El Clasico for Dyer. Dyer, if obviously you did amazing, you're definitely a very deserving MVP. But if you were not the MVP of your team, who would the MVP be?
I side on. Crazy.
Sadon. Yeah. I said it once. I'm gonna say it again. We got to get the pulses per minute on Village of Nepal. Like that. Like I think it had to be like I think about 1, maybe about 1.2, something like that. He was popping off with you.
That thing was a cooldown. That was not a ultimate.
I
don't know.
Well, Dyer, it was a pleasure having you. Congratulations on your 3-0 victory with the Numbys against
Thank
the
you.
Berlin Brawlers. Happy birthday again. I can't say it enough, man. The fact that you showed up on your birthday, came here to compete, was the MVP, got the 3-0 victory. That's got to be a story to tell. But I will leave you to your birthday celebrations. Thank you so much for joining us on the desk, and I wish you the best, man.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Alrighty. Well, we are going to be signing out here. Nathan, I want to say excellent job. This was Nathan's first cast, by the way, so give him some love in the chat, and I'll let you close this off.
Yeah, thank you everyone for showing up and watching the game. It definitely was a fun match, and I hope you guys all have a good night.